the film I need to start with, though, Jeff Nichols, The Bikeriders.
Hearing
Oh,
good
my
things.
beloved Jeff Nichols. I have to apologize here up at the top. I will be incredibly grating when it comes to this movie. I will be talking about it nonstop, especially if I end up loving it. I'm probably going to be annoying, and I apologize in advance. I love Jeff Nichols. To me, he's one of the great American filmmakers, wholly underrated, and maybe it's
Sure.
because he's only made a handful of films, but
Yeah.
he's far from being a household name. Even in cinephile circles, he's not talked about really all that much, which is why it is my goal to
Well,
champion
that's-
him at
his
every
films,
turn.
by comparison with some big films, his films are a little mild, and that's not to say that they shouldn't be talked about, but I can see why maybe they get a little lost in the shuffle, especially when there are more vibrant and colorful films that come out each year that maybe kind of mask it, unfortunately.
Well, I mean, he's all about examining that blue collar middle America
Yeah.
aesthetic and sensibility. So yes, he's not going to be making a Yorgos Lanthimos film anytime soon.
No.
Or a Martin
Daniel's
Scorsese. Yeah, exactly. Like, that's not his sensibility. And as I noted earlier, I come from Michigan. I come from middle America. I come from that blue collar sensibility. So maybe that is a part of it. I don't really know.
No, I get it. I get it. I mean,
Like,
Berks County, Pennsylvania was like that where I grew up too. It was blue collar in a way, but it was very rural as well. A lot of farmland around. It was very much the commonplace for us.
Absolutely. And the way he examines family dynamic in the middle of all of that, I think is at times quite profound, especially with Midnight Special and Take Shelter. But I think Loving is extraordinary as well. And that's where a lot of people might know him from, because Loving did get a little bit of awards love that year. And now here he is with The Bikeriders. And this is a film that just premiered at Telluride and Venice, or just Telluride. I'm trying to recall.
I forget.
But
It was one of the two at the very least.
Yeah, it just had one of its premieres. It might have been Telluride now that I'm thinking about it. But this stars Austin Butler, Jodie Comer, Tom Hardy, Michael Shannon. Of course, it is obligatory when Jeff Nichols is making
in his contract.
Michael Shannon is in it. Mike Feist is in this as well, among others, Boyd Holbrook. So it has a really great cast.
Yeah.
And, it was really endearing. I don't know if you saw the video or not, but Jeff Nichols was out at Telluride introducing this film. And maybe this is how it comes off in the video. And from his perspective, maybe I'm making this up. I don't know. But in the video, anyway, it seemed like he walked on stage and was quite nervous. And his voice was a little bit shaky, and you could see that he was just trying to get through this as quickly as possible
It's been
so
a while.
he could walk off
What it was
stage.
like to make a movie.
And maybe he's not a give a speech on a stage kind of guy. And I totally understand that. And given his movies, that tracks, like that makes sense that he's not that kind of guy. And this is a movie where he talked about, like, I saw these photos of this bicycle gang. They looked really cool and awesome. And I just wanted to evoke that in film form, basically.
That just makes it sound like the movie's going to be a vibe. Which
it's going to be a vibe bike riding movie. Yeah.
He's going to channel his own Easy Rider, I guess.
Yeah. More or less is what it sounds like.
Yeah.
And that to me sounds incredible, especially within the way that Jeff Nichols likes to shoot and make his movies. Because the one criticism that I have seen of the film is that, look, this isn't going to be winning any Oscars for a screenplay. And that
makes it sound awesome.
To me, that made it all the more alluring, because it's like, okay, there's going to be a thin narrative here, which to me means this is all about looking cool. It's all about these characters evoking something on screen. So it's going to be a visual storytelling kind of movie, and it's going to be all about these performances. And David Wingo doing a score for this movie. Oh my God. That has me extremely excited. So The Bikeriders, man, it's easily not even close the film I'm looking forward to the most this
Yeah, and
fall.
I didn't have it on my list because I just didn't know much about it at that time, and when I do these initial anticipated lists in January, I tend to reserve that list for movies that I feel like I know enough about, outside of just, like, some of the cast and the director making it, but, knowing even more about that vibe, I would probably give it even more of an edge because that just sounds like such a reawakening for someone like Jeff Nichols, who has been sort of out of the spotlight for a few years. And when that happens, it usually means that they're going to come back with a new energy, not
Mhm.
necessarily a better energy, just a new energy, as if it's almost like a reintroduction for us of sorts. And
Yeah.
that sounds exciting there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, back in January, I didn't know anything about it either, but it's
You
Jeff
just knew it was
Nichols,
Jeff
and that's
Nichols.
all,
And sometimes,
that's
yeah,
all I
sometimes you
needed.
have these relationships with certain filmmakers. It's like, I don't
Yeah.
need to know anything as long as I just know who's making it and who's going to be in it. And
Yeah.
that's fair. That's fair.
Absolutely. So to me, that is the film I'm looking forward to the most, just on that alone. And then they announced this cast, and the one thing that has been somewhat lost in this, because just keep talking about how much I love Jeff Nichols and his film speaks so profoundly to me. And
Hmm.
we talked about Michael Shannon and their relationship, and Austin Butler is getting a lot of notoriety
Yeah.
coming off the heels of Elvis, and people are really taking to him and his, we'll say, aesthetics. People really love the way he looks on camera, and I don't blame them.
Hmm.
This also has Tom Hardy, and Tom Hardy is one of my favorites. And the one thing that I read about Tom Hardy in this film is that he gives maybe the best performance in a decade. I don't know how true that is, but
Yeah. Yeah.
that also gets me excited because I think we somewhat forget that Tom Hardy is also in this. And if he is giving the best performance he's done in a decade in a Jeff Nichols film, are you kidding me?
I'm just imagining that we always talk about how he's so great in movies when you don't even see his full face. Is he going to be wearing like a bandana or something around his face for most of it?
Just talking to I'm Tom Hardy talking like this the whole time. I don't know.
I'm the Spike. I'm the Spike's reckoning.
Yeah, very much looking forward to that. All right, so that's my list.